Greetings.
Is everything ready? Then it is time to begin the duel.
Yes, finally. I am ready to do what must be done. The time has come. Amila, are you sufficiently prepared?
I am ready.
It is time. Nothing we can do now but observe and hope for the best.
To your health, brother.
And may the Great Serpent have mercy on your soul, Amila.
Tell me, brother, will you be able to live with yourself?
Shut up. You brought this on yourself, Amila.
Pray that you lose, brother. If I am to die, my ghost will never let you rest.
So be it. It is done. May Amila's tormented soul finally find rest in death. I can hardly believe it myself. But Amila was out of control. What happened today was inevitable.
This should not have happened. What have you done? You were supposed to tranquilize them both. You were supposed to scuttle the duel.
What?
Fool! Amila is dead because of you. It would have worked. I know it would have worked.
Even if it had worked, the duel would be incomplete. I would have made sure to continue with different seconds.
This is... I am done. Tend to your brother yourself.
Do not let Danica shame you. What you did was honorable. Amila accepted the duel, and you let it play out fairly. You did nothing wrong. Your duty as a second has ended. You served Amila honorably, and I thank you for that. Now, I'm sure you are eager for your promised payment. It was well earned. But now I am afraid I must ask you to leave. It is time for me to tend to my brother's body. Farewell.
Obedience is paramount.
The things they expect me to accomplish. Well, look who it is. You have made quite a stir, and given the state of things, that is a singular accomplishment. To what do I owe the honor, Reverend? Did he now? How magnanimous. But approval is approval, and I will gladly take it. I will spare you much of the technical detail, as I confess that pieces of it I barely understand myself. One cannot help but notice the energy field around the Scaled Citadel. Until we can get through it, we cannot shut down the experiment inside, and it has proved quite impossible to get through. We had the beginnings of a plan to build a makeshift contraption to redirect grav drive energy to see if we could penetrate the barrier, but the project came to a halt. Politics got in the way.
This seems like the one time to set politics aside.
Every one of the houses needs to contribute, and every one realized they could potentially use it for leverage. What should have been a cooperative effort turned contentious. Easy decisions became negotiations. And so, construction never began. We have sat here, staring at this disaster as supplies pile up for well over a week now. Serpent help us, it is infuriating. The Council just so happens to represent the three houses under Varun's banner, who are also entrusted with various aspects of running, well, everything. Each of those houses needs to contribute something to the project, so the Council is the final stopgap. Were the Speaker here, he could bypass all of it with a wave of his hand, but, well, you have already seen the state he's in. Indeed. All must serve. I believe I've done enough complaining for now. Time to get to work. If you're here, the Council has likely sent word to the houses that it's time to stop the infighting. I doubt it will be enough. I need to oversee construction here, make sure things are built to specifications. If you could follow up with the houses, that may speed up the process. I appreciate that someone around here is eager to get to work. House Vetol owes us access codes for the city power grid. It's the only way to guarantee enough power to activate the device. House Kadik was supposed to provide a young scientist named Sahima to help me. She had at least some experience with the original Citadel experiment. No idea why they refused to send her. And Hasmek, the new elder of House Dulkef, he has been distant, guarded. He claims to have vital information about an important component of the experiment, but has withheld it until now. Help me get what we need, and we will see what we can do for the Speaker, and for House Varun. And I may have something that can help you in whatever trials the Serpent puts before you as we navigate this. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this. I know. I have lost friends and colleagues myself. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of vortex energy. Second, we have learned that killing the phantoms sometimes causes an even greater disturbance. Horrors, as they have been colloquially termed, can appear from somewhere. We are unsure of their origin, but it is not within our universe. These horrors and their spawn are infested with cysts, a seemingly organic manifestation of vortex energy. We have managed to collect enough to run experiments and have devised a method of combining them into an explosive mixture with varying properties. While they have no use in the development of the morning device, if you find yourself out in the field, I believe they could have more practical applications. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should suffice, if you have the materials. And depending on how you combine said materials, you may find the results to be somewhat variable. I hope you can use that to your advantage. Just look around. I'm sure you have at least some idea of how much we have physically lost. A huge portion of the city is just gone. And those left behind are struggling. Supplies are limited. There is so much work to be done, and we are all just so tired. I hope that eventually we can return things to the way they were, but we must be realistic. That will take time, and I suspect a great deal of it. Not enough to have prevented it from happening. If I had any idea it was going to turn out like this... It had been Inasco's primary goal for some time. A way to recreate Jinan Varun's encounter with the Great Serpent. Everything we knew about grav drive technology, every scientific advancement we'd made in the last 100 years was poured into it. Towards the end, I was just so exhausted. I asked for a brief time off. Had I not, I would be trapped in there with the rest of the science team. Yes, I am sure that is how some would see it. I left the project weeks before the disaster, and at that point, we were nowhere near ready. Some breakthroughs were made shortly thereafter, and they ran the experiment. And here we are. Yes, depending on how much trouble you're getting into. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this. I know. I have lost friends and colleagues myself. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of vortex energy. Second, we have learned that killing the phantoms sometimes causes an even greater disturbance. Horrors, as they have been colloquially termed, can appear from somewhere. We are unsure of their origin, but it is not within our universe. These horrors and their spawn are infested with cysts, a seemingly organic manifestation of vortex energy. We have managed to collect enough to run experiments and have devised a method of combining them into an explosive mixture with varying properties. While they have no use in the development of the morning device, if you find yourself out in the field, I believe they could have more practical applications. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should suffice, if you have the materials. And, depending on how you combine said materials, you may find the results to be somewhat variable. I hope you can use that to your advantage.
This area is lucky to be unaffected.
Our influence in the settled systems may be small, but all it takes is a foothold.
Can't be serious granting them an audience. This is exactly the impression we don't want to give.
Please, Jamal. Don't you see how all this works in our favor? It's not up for discussion. I won't risk what we worked so hard to achieve. It's done.
No, you'd risk our future and reputation as a house. But you are the chosen elder.
Ah, don't patronize me. The Great Serpent spared our house. We are favored here. Shouldn't you get back to the council? We can't afford to be absent at a time like this.
I guarantee I'm not missing much. But you're right. I'll be heading back soon enough.
If you must be here, please keep quiet.
So, Ekris has sent our newest reverend to inquire about Sahima. Don't worry. Jamal's already told me all about you. I'm Razma, Elder of House Kadik and head of the Ministry of Conjunction. Well, it's also an honor to meet one as interesting as yourself. I wouldn't have suspected an outsider to be made promised. But who am I to argue with the Great Serpent's choice? I know the Council is looking to Sahima for answers, but the truth is, she's been taken, along with other members of the House. They're being held hostage by zealots, and now they're demanding negotiations.
This is a major overreach. I have never known the Zealots to be so bold.
The Zealots have yet to name specifics. At best, they'll demand an inordinate amount of credits or firearms. Worst case, a seat at the High Council or even the reinstatement of their house. House Maline. They know we can't risk Sahima for Dazra's sake. So, they won't hold back when it comes to demands. House Malene was fully dedicated to Jandar Varun. They objected when his brother, Jarek, was chosen to take over as leader. They knew he would bring an end to the Serpent's Crusade. It's why they abandoned their house and became the zealots you know today, to continue what they believe is Jinan and Jandar's work. Jinan Varun had twin sons, Jarek and Jandar. Jandar fully supported the Serpent's Crusade, and to many in House Malene, was the best suited to take over for his father. Aha. My thoughts exactly. Normally I'd have agents doing everything possible to find them. But we too suffered losses. We need to be here. Present. I couldn't risk more lives. It's the only reason I even agreed to these negotiations. But now that you're here, I can finally take action. And that is where the issue lies. I don't know where the Zealots are keeping Sahima, but I have a good idea who does. Their name is Merrick. Merrick is a Kadik, and they also work for me as an agent in the Ministry of Conjunction. This is where matters get complicated. As I said, Merrick works for me in the Ministry of Conjunction. They've been establishing an inside relationship with the Zealots for some time now. On my orders. Forcing them to give up the information could jeopardize all they've worked for. So don't expect them to be forthcoming. Get the information any way you see fit. As long as no physical harm comes to them.
Understood.
Merrick is proud of what they've accomplished, so I doubt they'll give up information easily. If being persuasive isn't your strong suit, perhaps appealing to their substantial ego may help. If you can stomach it. Just don't be direct. I'm sure it would put them on the defensive. Either that, or make them completely unwilling to talk. What better way to surveil a threat? It's important for us to know what the Zealots may be targeting, to stay one step ahead. See that you do. You'll find Merrick upstairs in the meditation room.
You're no member of House Kadik. What are you doing here? Oh, so you're the heretic turned reverend who thinks they're one of us now. So tell me, what would a chosen one such as yourself want with someone like me? Oh, I certainly don't. I may have many talents, but mind reading isn't one of them. Did she now? I guess this means the High Council is still asking Auntie Razma where Sahima is. And if you're here making demands, she obviously has decided to make use of you rather than undergo sincere negotiations. I see what's going on here. Well, I am one of the few to garner any amount of trust with the Zealots, so she should be. I can't imagine where the Ministry of Conjunction would be without me. I do have a natural talent. It's nice to see I'm being properly recognized. I may excel in my skills, but it doesn't mean the hours I put in are any less. Exactly. There's still research, analysis, documentation. Too much documentation, if you ask me. But altogether, I have the exact talents needed to do this job, which is why I was entrusted with the Zealots in the first place. I admit it hasn't always been easy. They are Zealots, you know. You have no idea. I can't even tell you how much time and effort it's been to sway the Zealots my way. Not to mention the stress over my own personal well-being. I may be the best at what I do, but I'm not stupid. The Zealots do have the element of unpredictability. I was wondering when your own agenda would come into play. I've worked hard to obtain my position with the Zealots. And like I've told Razma 1,000 times, I have no reason to believe they're going to hurt my dear cousins, especially Sahima. So, as far as I'm concerned, that information stays with me. You make a good point, for an outsider. And perhaps I should take your presence here as a sign. The location you're looking for is Shadow Station Epsilon. It's an old Varun base that they've taken over for themselves. Razma will know it. Let her tell you the details, seeing as how I'm about to be reassigned. It better.
You must have gotten the location. I figured they wouldn't be completely forthcoming. If my intel is correct, you can find Shadow Station Epsilon in the Badlands, north of Dazra. I can send you the coordinates. Epsilon was once a research station, with a focus on grav drive manipulation. The Zealots have since vastly expanded upon it. but it makes sense if they intend to use Sahima to their advantage. The Shadow Stations were established during the Serpent's Crusade. A series of secret military installations that few knew about, and even fewer may remember. The idea was to have isolated centers focused on different aspects of furthering the Crusade. This way, if one fell, it wouldn't endanger the others. The sooner the better.
We will do whatever is necessary to bring Sahima and the others back safely.
Now that we have a rescue mission underway, I'll speak to Merrick about setting up the negotiations. I expect them to be pliable after their last encounter with you. The current plan is to hold them at one of the geothermal power stations. Meet us there when Sahima and the others are safe. I see you have a grasp on how these types of negotiations work. I'll stall the Zealots as long as I can, which shouldn't be an issue. That being said, I'd still appreciate it if you could act quickly. Now, Jamal wants an update before you leave. Just don't let her distract you for too long.
Reverend, a word before you go. Tell me, Reverend, what do you know about the Zealots? I'm impressed. You've already learned quite a bit from your time with us. The Zealots are widely frowned upon within our society. They're a remnant of the Serpent's Crusade, days we'd like to forget. Has my dear sister given you any history on our house's relations with the Zealots? I'm surprised she even mentioned that much. Razma would have everyone believe she only wishes to keep an eye on the Zealots, so the Council can make informed decisions. The truth is, she's had this particular group of Zealots under her thumb for quite some time. This is only a problem now because she's lost control. That is the real reason why Razma hasn't informed the High Council, and I'm sworn to silence.
That sounds like an incredibly foolish plan.
House Khadik already has a reputation for being sympathetic to the Zealots, but the truth is far worse. Razma wants the Zealots to back House Khadik, so the balance of power between the noble houses would shift to us. She's been employing them, paying them in supplies that aid their blind crusade. There are several members who are sympathetic toward them or their cause. Some see beyond their extremist veneer and believe they're just misguided. A very small few may believe Jandar truly was the rightful heir, but none would ever admit it. I'm certain it's the case that members of the other houses feel the same. House Khadik is just the only one who's been exposed for it. The Council knows nothing of her work with the Zealots, and I aim to keep it that way. All elders have their own ambitions. I'm certain that's all they see. What none of us expected was the disaster that is the Scaled Citadel. The aftermath is what allowed the Zealots to grab Sahima and the others, flipping the balance of power in their favor. Razma has lost control and is putting House Khadik's reputation and power at risk. And that's what I wish to speak to you about. House Khadik shouldn't be associating with Zealots at all, except on an extermination level. But worse, we absolutely cannot be supplying them with ordnance of any kind. We need to cut ties with the Zealots altogether. How astute. I want you to put an end to any connections between House Kadik and the Zealots. And while my position won't allow me to be blunt, I'll still make it clear. Should the hostages not survive, Rasma would blame the Zealots and cut all ties.
An extreme sacrifice for the sake of your house.
What we need is Sahima's research, which she has with her. You just need to bring it back. Think about it if you must, but if you care about your people, you'll come to the same conclusion as I have. And when you do, just know that we can't afford any loose ends. No witnesses. As far as everyone else is concerned, the hostages were dead when you arrived, and you exacted revenge in House Kadik's name. Of course not. But in this situation, it is the most effective means to an end. As a mediary, I am constantly weighing decisions based on both immediate and long-term consequences. This decision is awful, I know that. But the far-reaching consequences are worth the sacrifice. I trust you'll make the right decision. Until then, I'll see you at the negotiations.
All must serve. What does your scanner reveal? Do you see anything useful? What you must. Leave the rest for the scavengers. I cannot wait to kill you. Are you prepared to die? Take your best shot. Fighting alongside you is never dull. You can't hope to win. You're not walking out of here. I cannot wait to kill you. Mine. Good one.
This is futile! You cannot evade us! Now you will pay!
You have made a grave mistake. I'm hit!
My eye!
I've lost them. There is no escape. I will have your head. You're the best you can do. Give up already. because we're committed to the biggest question of all. What's out there? You're part of Constellation now. Part of our family. We do not fully understand all that is at work here.
No finer group in the stars to be unraveling this mystery.
I'll follow you from here on out, Captain.
Grab jump is ready. I love this part.
These artifacts could be everything we've been looking for. Another great secret the universe is asking us to unravel.
Human settlements throughout the galaxy could be at risk.
We are not stopping. Whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity forever. This is where we belong.